shift or a pair of dimes, whichever comes first. Thank you, thank you. I was hoping I was going to get something out of that. Anyhow, we thank you, and I got some prizes to give away, and I know you guys are so anxious for them. So who was invited? Who was invited here? Who's here because you were invited and you came? Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Who else was invited? I got some over here. I got more. Where? All right. You know what?
I was glad that I'm in church.
Oh. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. Everybody lie. These are protein. Protein. That's no, not you. You got almonds. You got almonds. Well, you can put them in your drink, but it'd be hard to swallow. Anyhow, thank you so much for being here today. And let me see. Who was the first one to get here about 6? I saw some. All right. Yeah, I saw you coming in here. I saw you too. You get one too. I'll let you choose. It's protein. Protein. You put that in some water and drink it. Oh, well, those are almonds. Don't drink those. Let me see. Who invited somebody? Who invited somebody? Okay, who else invited? Who invited? You invited people? Okay. For all the people that invited somebody, I want you to pick your hand up. It don't matter with any hand. Okay.
Whether they showed up or not.
It doesn't matter. If you invited somebody, pick your hand up. Pick your hand up. All right, everybody, okay. Turn your hand like this. Pat yourself. Woo! Yes, thank you. You did really good. So I want us to get excited because you guys are going to have this is a life changer. It really is. The information that you're going to get tonight, man, you're going to thank God you came here. Okay? Yes, it is an amen. You are, because this is super amazing information and teaching that you're going to get. So without further ado, Karen is going to introduce to us tonight our amazing Dr. Joanne. And she really is amazing. Yes!
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Karen!
So I'm a little short, I'm standing up here. So just in case you didn't know me, I've been with Dr. Joanne for a year now. Before I started working there, I was actually a patient first. And before I became a patient, I was a really stubborn person who didn't want to go get checked. And I didn't go get checked because my back was hurting. I went in there because I had migraines. Who doesn't have migraines once in a while? Allergies, because supposedly they're common in Texas. And I had anemia, arthritis, and a lot going on. And now I'm only 25, but I started having migraines since I was in high school. And with the years, it just got worse and worse that I ended up going to the hospital twice. I lost my eyesight once because of the migraines. They were so severe. I turned to my husband crying, I can't see. I literally thought I was going to die because they were so bad. He took me to the emergency room. They did tests, MRIs, CAT scans, everything you could think of, and they told me, you don't have nothing. It's just stress. I'm like, how is this stress? There's something else going on. Like, no, it's stress. Here's medication, though. And here's some more medication. So after a year or two, that same medication wasn't doing anything to me anymore. And they gave me higher doses and hydrocodone, oxycodone. They gave me many medications. For years, I was taking 2-3 medications a day. Then that wasn't doing anything anymore. So it actually affected my arthritis. My arthritis started to get really bad. Then my hands started to crumple, and I couldn't even move them. As a mom, as a wife, as a student, I need my hands. I need to cook, I need to clean, I need to type my computer, my homework. I couldn't function. I was tired. The doctors told me it was nothing. It was the same thing over and over again. My mother started seeing Dr. Joanne, and she started to get adjusted, but she started to see a change in herself. She used to have severe allergies that she used to bleed from her nose daily from her allergies. And after getting adjusted for a month, her allergies started to go away. She didn't have to take her medication or her injections like she used to. So she's like, you need to come, you need to get checked. I know this works. So after she told me for a month to go get checked, I finally listened to her. And what do you know? The first night after getting adjusted, I could sleep without having to take medication. After 2-3 months, I stopped taking medication daily, and after 6 months, I stopped all my medication and didn't have a migraine since.
Yeah.
Oh, don't scare me.
That was your cue to clap.
So, I know that implementing these 5 essentials that you're about to learn and about to experience how I changed my life by the way I eat. I started exercising. I started getting adjusted daily, and it transformed my life, not only my life, but my husband's and my child, who also gets adjusted. So, further introduce enough about me. Let's get started to the real thing. I'll have to introduce Dr. Joy, but before I do, I'll have to tell you a little bit more about who she is and what she does. So she's been working here in Denton for 2 years now. We are just a franchise of chiropractors, of Maximized Living chiropractors that you can find all over the U.S. We are chiropractors who believe in the same essentials, the 5 essentials, and sorry, nervous. But it's okay.
She's been nervous for like the whole day, so forgive her.
Yes. I know, neither do I. Don't worry. Okay, so Dr. Joanne Fatukumab, she's an awesome doctor who has changed many people's lives in the clinic. She has transformed people's lives, and I've seen it every day that a patient comes in and tells me something new. I can finally go up the stairs. I can finally play with my grandchildren. I can finally do jumping jacks and not be hurting the next day. So, here's Dr. Joanne. Yay!
All right. Well, welcome everyone. So we always start with a call to action, and I need everybody to stand up. So this is a participation session. So just know that right away. So right now I want to ask you guys, how many of you know someone that has heart disease? I want you to sit down. I want you to sit down if you know anybody that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And I want you to sit down if you know anybody that has been affected by cancer. Hey, maybe he doesn't know anybody. I don't know. So, okay, let's say that was the statistic. We have one person that hasn't been affected, but we look at that. You know, when is enough going to be enough? It's not like it's just 1 or 2 people. Literally, this is affecting 5 out of 6 Americans are dealing with heart disease. 90% of the time, what is the first symptom of heart disease? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
Heart attack.
Yep.
So, 10 people, the first sign, 9 of them are having a heart attack. That's how they find out that they have heart disease. So this is why we're having this talk. Because our lifestyle literally is killing us. And a lot of you are saying, well, I know it is. But what am I going to do about it? That's what tonight's about. So when we look at, there we go. So how are you waking up every morning? Are you waking up like this? You're jumping out of bed, it's good morning. You're like, I'm so glad my alarm went off. I feel rested. Anybody? I was like, there's gonna be one. And of course she's related to Pastor Danny. Come on, of course she prays for her, she's like, oh. So when we look at that, we have to understand that this is not what we're waking up like, but this is what we should be waking up like. So how many of you are waking up like this? Right? And if I say waking up, you're rolling out of bed. And this is halfway through the day, you're with your coffee, right? Or Red Bull, or some kind of stimulant, and you're just making it, right? That you take the coffee, and then at 10 o'clock, you're down again, and you're like, I need another caffeine rush. Or even the little kid, look at them, just you're there, but you're not there. So this is what we're looking at as far as that's not what God wants for us. So when we don't want to wake up like this. So right now, what I want you guys to do is start to think about what it is that you want your life to look like in 21 days, in 30 days. Literally take a moment right now. I want you to visualize, are you gonna fit into those skinny jeans that you wanted to fit into for years? And every year you're like, this is it. And then it just doesn't happen, right? Or I'm gonna have a six-pack, by summer. And then instead of like the actual six-pack, you have like a six-pack, right? In your hands. Not the kind that you can move, but that's what we want to make sure. So what is it that you're looking at? Right now, I want you to think about it. Maybe it's being out of pain. Maybe it's being healthy. Maybe it's having a good health diagnosis, right? Maybe it's stop taking so many medications. Maybe stop taking medications altogether, because it is possible. In fact, one of our patients, also a member here, Carolyn got off of all her medications. How many were you taking?
I was on 7 prescription medications.
7 prescription medications. And now she's medication free. So this is something that everyone can do as long as you're deciding right now. So this is what I'm doing. I want you guys to start thinking about, what is your goal? So literally you have 1 minute. I want you to start thinking about it. I'm going to ask a few people. We're going to give some prizes for you guys participating and hearing what your goals are. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute. Start thinking. And I know some of you already have that in mind, so who's already ready while the other people think? Hillary. Skinny jeans. All right. All right, someone else right here?
I wrote 2 things down. I want to be cancer free and down 41 pounds.
All right, good. Back there?
Healthy and pain free.
Healthy and pain-free. Awesome. Yes? Off medications.
Less fatigue, and also to see whatever it can do for me to help implement a healthier life for my diabetic son.
Okay, awesome. So there you go. One more right there.
More energy and be some skinny jeans.
All right. Not just for the women, guys. Come on.
No, but just be thinner.
Okay.
Not skinny.
One more over here. The last one, right here. Being able to keep up with your kids. Good. Okay, so those were just some. I'm gonna say they were vague, guys. This is where it's time to start thinking specifically. So he says, I want some skinny jeans or be thinner, right? He has to decide, how much is that going to be? I'm going to lose 27 pounds by the 5th of March, 2017, right? It has to be specific. It's like when God, that's that joke, maybe it's not a joke, but where the guy's on the roof, everybody's heard it at one point, he's on the roof and it's the whole town is flooding, and he's on his roof and he's waiting, he's like, God, I know you're going to send someone to help me, and the raft comes up and he's like, come on, let's go. He's like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And he leaves, and then another guy comes over in a different boat. He's like, let's go, we gotta save you. And he's like, no, God's got me, guys, I got this. Last one, a helicopter pulls up, and it's getting worse, and he's like, let's go. And he's like, no, God's gonna save me. And what happened? The guy ends up drowning. I know this is kind of sad. But he's up drowning, and he gets to heaven, and he says, God, I thought you had my back. Why didn't you save me? He goes, I sent the raft, I sent the boat, I sent the helicopter. What else did you want me to send, right? So sometimes we are not specific, and we don't always think about what action we need to take. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So when you guys have your goals, great goals, but we want to be more specific as to make them more, they're going to be SMART goals. Has anybody heard about SMART goals? 1 person, 2 persons. All right, 3, 4. Good. So when we look at this, SMART meaning specific. It has to be specific. So if you wanted to lose weight, how much weight are you going to lose? 41 pounds. Anybody else?
31 pounds.
31 pounds. And what?
In 5.5 months.
In 5.5 months. Amazing. Anybody else? Any more weight goals? 25% body,
23%.
23% body fat. So well,
30 pounds.
30 pounds down. So I want people to talk about it because I want you guys to start thinking, what am I wanting? What specifically am I going to do? Then we're looking at measurable. So we're going to make sure that you can measure, okay, I started at 150 pounds, and if I want to lose 20 pounds, we can measure that. So then we look at attainable. We want to make sure it's something you're not going to say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 5 days. Okay, no, we got to make it attainable. And then realistic, meaning that you're going to believe it as well. And then time frame. Again, you're going to have a time frame. So you said 23% body fat by when?
For me,
Yep, for you.
it's 3% body fat, so I could realistically do it in 12 weeks.
12 weeks. So then you're going to write that down. You're going to say, I, Nicole, will lose this much weight, or not weight, but will lose this percent of fat by, this date. And more importantly is accountability. I can write all these goals down, and then it gets hard. Guess what? I'm going to push them to the side, and then I'm like, well, I guess it just didn't happen. But if you post this on Facebook, if you post this on Twitter, if everybody knows that you're doing this and they're cheering you on, it's a lot harder to back out. So that's exactly why tonight I need you guys to also pick an accountability partner. If they're not here tonight, then you want to call them or text them tonight and say, okay, I need you to be my accountability partner because I'm ready to get healthy. So why? Because it says in the Bible, I can do all things through Christ, right? So when we look at don't be nervous, this is one of the things that a lot of people say. So when a lot of you probably, how many of you didn't say your goals out loud? A lot of you. Because it's scary, right? If I say that, then I'm going to have to do work. I'm going to have to commit to it, and I'm not ready yet. And this is what we're talking about right now. We want to give you tools, and we want to show you that this is possible, and you don't have to be afraid. So with the 5 essentials, which is what we work with here at Maximize Living, we look at your mindset. You have to have a positive mindset. You can't be negative and expecting good results. You're looking at your nervous system, maximizing your nutrition, maximizing your exercise efforts to bring in oxygen to your body, and the last one is minimizing toxins. So we're going to go through those. We're going to be focusing tonight on nutrition, a little bit of exercise, and detoxification. So before I keep going, I'm also going to stop right here. I'm going to share with you my testimony as far as why I became a Maximize Living chiropractor. Because I want you to know my heart and why I do this. So when I was 18, I ended up with migraines really bad, and it started the day before Valentine's Day in 2001. You're like, really? You remember that? I do. Because that's the day that I lost my health. And I had no idea that I was even unhealthy all the way up until that point. So it was the day before Valentine's Day. I'm out shopping. Okay, so I'm out shopping because I love shopping. Any women love shopping? Okay. Even men love shopping. Pastor Danny, I know he likes to shop.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So what we're talking about, I was out shopping, and I remember I'm looking at stuff, and then all of a sudden my head starts hurting. And I'm not the type of person that has headaches, so I'm like, well, this is weird. So I thought, maybe I'm just hungry. So then I went and I grabbed some food, started eating it, and I thought, it's gonna kick in right now. Any moment, started getting worse. So I thought, well, I'm not done shopping. And it hurts really bad, so I'm just gonna wait a little bit. So I went into my car, and I laid down in the back of my Jeep. I had a Jeep, and I just laid there, and I thought, it's gonna get better. I know it's gonna get better. And minute passed, more time passed, and now I'm vomiting because the pain is so bad. And I've never experienced that pain before. And I said, if I don't move, it won't hurt. If I don't move, it'll go away. I know it. And then I just broke down crying because I thought, there's no way. This is not going to end. So I called my mom crying. And I said, bring my brother. He has to drive my car home. I don't know what's going on. So she gets me home, and she's like, it's okay. It's fine. You just sleep it off. And it's not getting better. I remember I had to sleep in the dark room. And if I moved my head just even the slightest wrong way, I'm vomiting again. So finally my mom decides, okay, you need to go to the hospital. We go to the hospital. They do a spinal tap. Anybody had a spinal tap before? Fun, right? Lay on your side, we're gonna stick this giant needle in your spine, and if you move, you might be paralyzed. Don't worry though, right? And then the side effect of this test is that you have a headache. And I'm thinking, I already have a headache, I don't need you to give me another one. So they do it, comes back negative, send me home with pills. So just like with Karen, all they did was give me medications. They gave me medications, sent me home, and my mom says, it's gonna go away. I'm still in the dark room, at home, and I'm missing school, meanwhile, because I'm in my first year of college, missing school, and then all of a sudden, it got worse. And I said, you gotta take me back to the hospital. Finally, by the time they took me to the hospital, they did a CAT scan. And they found that I had a subdural bleed in the left side of my brain. They had missed it. And they kept me in observation on medication for a week, and they said, okay, it'll go away. Finally, it goes away. The brain bleed goes away. The test says there's nothing there, but that migraine hasn't left. Those migraines would not leave. And all they kept giving me was medication and medication and medication. And I remember during those 2 years, when I would leave the house, I had my bag and I would jingle because of all the pills that I had. And I specifically remember the red pills, there were the Imitrex pills, and I remember if I had them, and if I was running low and I was going out with my mom to the store or wherever, I was in panic. I thought, oh my gosh, if I need more than two pills, I'm going to end up with I'm just going to be sick. I can't do this. And it was just so stressful. And the stress that it caused my family was the worst part. So I had no insurance, and I was in and out of the emergency room like 2 to 3 times a week. So you can imagine bills just piling up. So my parents are stressed out because no one can tell them why their daughter, who was in her first year of college, is now back home, can't take care of herself, lying in a room, relying on medicine just to breathe. And they did MRIs, and they did CAT scans, and they sent me to neurologist after neurologist just to tell me that they didn't know why that the migraines were there, and they had no idea how to fix it other than they were going to manage my symptoms with pain medicine. And again, thank God that was there, because I don't know what I would have done had I had no relief, but that's what I was dealing with. And the moment that really, there's 2 moments that I thought, this is unreal. This can't be my life. It was one of the times I was in the hospital, and my family was around, gathered in there, and I could hear my brother, and he started laughing, a joke he told, and my dad turns and yells at him, shut up, shut up. I don't want your sister to get worse. And it broke my heart. Because it wasn't my brother's fault that I was in the hospital, that the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, and all of a sudden it was my fault. And I hated myself. I hated the fact that my family was going through all of this because of me. Because nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And that is why I don't want to see any more families suffer. That's why I'm here. Because someone finally reached out to me, and my family had said, you need to go to a chiropractor. I didn't know what a chiropractor was. I said, I'll go. I've tried everything else. And I went, and he did an exam. He looked at my nervous system, said there's damage in here, took an x-ray, and said, this is where the migraines are coming from. Now, I'm looking at this chiropractor who I have no idea who he is, where he came from, what he really does. And I looked at him and I'm thinking, what do you think I'm thinking? You're crazy, right? I'm like, really? Really? In like 2 visits, you're going to tell me you found my migraines when the top neurologist in Colorado could not figure out what was wrong with me. So I'm not going to lie, I was skeptical. But I had already started to get relief, more relief from the 2 adjustments he gave me than I did the whole 2 years on medication. So I said, fine, I'm going to do this, I'm all in. Started getting adjusted within a month. I was off all my medication and I never had a migraine since. That's why I'm here. Because if someone like a chiropractor that could explain health could save people from being in the hospital for the rest of their lives, getting off of medication, not having to have their family go through hell, then that's why I'm here. This isn't something that I dreamed of saying, I'm going to be a chiropractor. when I grow up, when I didn't even know what it was. But what I wanted to be an artist and a teacher. And here I am. So I guess I'm kind of a teacher. But when we look at it, that's why I'm here, is because God called me to this. I didn't think I was smart enough to do this. I remember the day he told me, okay, you're gonna be a chiropractor. I thought, have you not seen my grades in anatomy science? I don't know how you're gonna get me through this. But then he said, that's nothing for you to worry about. And I went and I'm here, obviously. So that's why I do what I do, because I want to transform Denton, to make sure that you guys have an option, and it's not going to be just drugs, and it's not going to be just surgery, and that you can get your health back. So when we look at the number one essential, which is our maximized mind, you have to have a strong mindset, because this is where the enemy attacks every single day for the rest of your life. They don't care. It doesn't care whether you're a mom, a daughter, a pastor, the president of the United States. It doesn't matter. Those negative thoughts come in every single day, and you got to fight them every single day. So what do? You have to understand that how you think is how you're going to be. They actually did a study. This is crazy. You guys are going to be like, there's no way. This is not real. So they did a study but they did research, and they released the research where they accidentally told a group of people that they had cancer and they had 6 months to live, and those people died. They had no cancer in them, and they died because they were told that they were going to die, because they accepted the fate. They took their hope away, and that's what killed them. And then they had people that had cancer, and they were the ones that were supposed to die, and they said, you actually have a clean bill of health, you're fine, and they lived. So it's right here. If you believe that you're going to be sick, that's what it's going to be. But if you decide right now, that's not me, I'm going to be focusing on positive, on healing, then it's all for you. So when we look at this, you guys all have in your packets, you should at least, am I correct? Cleansing affirmation. So I'm going to pull it out real quick. This is what you're going to say for the next 21 days. In the morning when you wake up, and at nighttime before you go to bed. Okay, so I cleanse myself. Okay, actually we're going to say this all together. So this is participation tab. Do you guys not have it?
It's on the screen now.
I know, but I wanted them to take it home. The girls will figure it out and we'll get them to you. No, the little squares right there. You just covered them up. There you go. Actually, Becca, there's some squares over here. You can hand those out too. Okay, so it says, so we're going to read the first line. I cleanse myself of all selfishness.
I cleanse myself of all selfishness.
Right. Resentment, critical feeling for my fellow beings. Self-condemnation and misinterpretation of my life experiences. Y'all like it. Okay. I'm just going to read it off of this one. Okay. I bathe myself in generosity, appreciation, praise, and gratitude. Self-acceptance and enlightenment, understanding of life and experiences. So this is going to be way easier when you're in your bathroom in the morning and you have it right in front of you. You won't have to read it along with everybody else. So you're going to read this not because you're like, this is dumb. Like if you think that, then don't even do it. But at the same time, if you're ready to cleanse your mind of negativity, this is how you start right there. Because again, maximize essential number one. So then when we look at, a lot of people will tell me, well, doctor, disease is genetic, right? How many of you been told it's your genes? It runs in your family. Anyone? Your disease, it comes from your family? Okay, so, and then this is just a little joke. It says, it's not diabetes, heart disease, and obesity that runs in your family. It's that no one runs in your family. Okay? We have to be real, because I get it like, oh, well, no, everyone in my family, we all have diabetes. Okay, well, who taught you how to cook? Who taught your mom how to cook? You all learn how to eat the same way. You all exercise the same way, or if you don't exercise the same way, guess what? You're going to get the same results. So it's actually not your genes. Your genes load the gun, and your lifestyle pulls the trigger. They've actually shown that it was the breast cancer gene, the BRCA genes. Y'all know what I'm talking about? So there's the BRCA genes that if you test it and it says like you have the BRCA gene and you have the potential or the susceptibility to end up with breast cancer, it's only 2 to 3% that actually is true genetics. The rest of them is actually shown that it's your lifestyle, because you can take two people with the same gene, BRCA gene, and this person doesn't take care of themselves. They eat horrible. They don't exercise. They have negative thoughts. They have a bad spine. They end up getting the breast cancer. But then this one over here could have the same genes, and they eat healthy. They make sure that their nervous system's clear, and they have positive thoughts. All of that right here, and they don't express the cancer. So understand that even if it is genetic, you still have control, because your lifestyle is under your control. So how does this really happen? We're looking at toxic accumulation, nutritional deficiencies. Now you're looking at chronic disease and illnesses. So when we look at it, here's the problem. We're going to start with nutrition. So when you look at it right there, South Korea, you can see some greens in there, some rice, some chicken. Then you're looking at Brazil, rice, beans, veggies, whole grains. And then you're looking at Italy, good salmon and vegetables and fresh fruit and a salad and some bread. And then you're looking at the U.S., what is it?
Burgers and fries, carbs.
Yeah, when pizza is considered vegetable, right? That it really is. They say the tomato sauce on the pizza counts as a vegetable. It's not even a vegetable. It's a fruit, exactly. So this is our system in school. So when we're looking at it, it's processed food. It's chicken nuggets. It's not like they took actual chicken and cut it up. This is processed food with bad oils, and it's refined, and it's all just crud, right? But this is how we start off our life. The number two ingredients in formula are what? Sugar and oil. Sugars and bad oils. If I just took a bucket of sugar and mixed it with some canola oil, and I'm like, here, feed your baby, you would look at me like I was crazy. But you package it in a beautiful little can with the baby on it. It says, healthy for your baby, and we use it because that's what the doctor tells us to do. So we have to understand, we have to start looking at ingredients and on the label to make sure that you know what you're eating. So the new hidden hunger. So a lot of people think malnutrition is, underfed and undernourished, but this is the new face of it. It's overfed and undernourished, because you keep eating and eating and eating because your body does not have the nutrients it needs, or it's not using the nutrients, so now you think that you're not full and you keep eating. So even though you might be overweight, you're still lacking nutrients. So this is where it comes from as well. Green harvesting and soil depletion. So vitamin A, 1999, so it's a lot worse now. You're looking at, you had to eat all those peaches to get vitamin A for the day. In 1951, all you had to do was eat 2 peaches and you had your vitamin A. Now you're looking at spinach, all that spinach to get your iron for the day, and now, 1951 is just 1.
The difference between organic and...
You'll have a little bit of difference, but you're still lacking minerals and actual nutrients.
Why?
They don't let the soil rest. You know how it says in the Bible, like you're supposed to let it go 7 years and then you're going to stop. Yes. So you're supposed to do all that. And now they're trying to make money. So they just over, because they're trying to make money, and it's become a business. Yeah.
You saw the garden now, and you saw the garden, it turns out, and as you do, rotate out.
Yeah. So I say that because a lot of people are like, well, doc, I eat my vegetables, I eat this, but unless you're eating all of that spinach, you're still not getting the nutrient requirements. So when we look at, how many of you have seen those pictures up there with the guy in a suit wearing like a gas mask, spraying pesticides on the crops? Anybody not seen it? Not seen it maybe? Okay, so if they're using that, but then they're going to harvest that and sell it to us so we can eat it, something's wrong. Something is really wrong. Because if you have to use that kind of protection just to spray the food, and it's okay for us to eat it, no, that's not okay. And then some of the chemicals that we use in packaging also make it worse. So DuPont sells a variety of, it's like a Teflon non-toxic kind of coating. They put it on the inside of microwave bags. And so when you pop your healthy popcorn, it actually leaks those chemicals in there. And that's not including the microwave radiation that changes the chemicals to cancer-causing formula. So just because you're eating healthy popcorn, it's not going to be healthy. So that's what we're going to also be talking about tonight. I know you're like, no, what? So chemicals in foods, again, you're looking at in cauliflower, you're seeing 3,000 chemicals. In the DDT, in the tomato, 3,500. I mean, you're just seeing tons of chemicals in what you think you're eating is healthy. So this is what, and then we're looking at the last one. That was also, so we're looking at, this is what you need to buy organic, because I know a lot of you are thinking, well, Doc, I can't afford to buy all organic, right? Raise your hand if you're thinking that. I can't afford it, it's too expensive. I agree. I don't buy everything organic. I can't afford it. So what do? You look at your Dirty Dozen. These are what you buy organic, because these are the ones that if you don't buy organic, they have more than 22 different pesticides and chemicals on them. So you're better off not eating these unless they're organic. Okay? Yes.
Are these slides in our packets or where can we get them?
You can pull it up on Google,
There's an app for that too.
and there's an app for that. Sound like a commercial. There's an app for that. So we're looking at apples. So you're thinking, oh, I'm giving my kids apples. Unless they're organic, you're actually giving them more toxic chemicals than you ever even thought of, right? So we're looking at apples, peaches, nectarines, strawberries, grapes, celery, spinach, sweet bell peppers, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, snap peas that are imported, potatoes. Potatoes are one of the worst, just so you know. Hot peppers, and kale. So again, you think you're eating healthy, but unless they're organic, you're getting too many chemicals into your diet. So what is the solution? You do have to buy organic. Those are the ones you have to buy organic. The rest of them, just clean them with water and vinegar. It takes them off. Yes? No.
What one of the vegetables?
Vegetables and fruits, if they're not on the organic list, you would buy just local conventional, because they're not full of pesticides. They're the cleaner ones. And then you can still wash them with, you do water with vinegar, apple cider vinegar or regular vinegar, and it actually pulls some of that stuff off of there.
A lot of vinegar or a couple?
About 2 capfuls. Yes.
Okay, so my question is that if the man with the white suit spraying all the veggies and fruits and stuff,
Yes.
I would think that all that seeps into the soil, which seeps into the roots, which seeps into either the fruit or vegetable.
Yes.
So it's inside. Yes, I mean, doesn't that make sense? Am I wrong, or is that?
Yes, so that's why the organic doesn't have all that sprayed on.
But if we buy the stuff that's not on the Dirty Dozen or whatever you call it, 12, on that list, you're saying to wash the outside.
Meaning there's not as many chemicals.
But there's still the chemical. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to do the best that we can here.
Okay, very good.
So then what's the option is you do the organic, those Dirty Dozen, you buy those organic, and the rest again, like you wash them. And then what's the ideal one? You would have your own garden. Or you would do a local co-op where they grow it and then you guys trade or like buy stuff from them. That's what your options would be. I don't like touching dirt, so I would never grow a garden. But I'm just going to be very real with you. I don't like it, so I definitely would do a co-op, and they would do the gardening for me, and I would pay them. So that's how we supplement. Because a lot of people go, well, if I'm eating my if I'm eating my vegetables, I'm doing all the healthy stuff, why do I need vitamins? Why? Because of the mineral depletion, because even though you're eating all of it, you're still not getting the nutrients. So this is why we've developed men's multi, women's multi, and these are whole foods based. Your body only understands one language, and that's whole foods. If you put in synthetic, it doesn't know what to do with it, so it stays in there for a while, and then it just goes out you. And then you're just taxing your body with synthetic, toxic vitamins. We've had x-rays of patients where you can see the centrum, whole centrums just still in the intestines because they're synthetic. So yeah, they're going to cost you less. You're like, oh, I got my vitamins for like $10. But they're also going to stay in there. You're not really going to use them. So these are based off of whole foods. They're made out of, fruits and vegetables, organic, and they're not sprayed with toxicity. They're not, they're just not processed like regular vitamins are. So this is why we sell those. Not because we're trying to get rich, but because you guys need resources. Could you possibly find another vitamin that ends up doing the whole foods and it's organic? Absolutely, but I can't go with you to the store and say, okay, out of these 50, this is your good option, right? How many of you know how to read labels and figure out which one is the best one for you? 1, 2, 3, so 4. So you're seeing, that's what I'm saying, this is why we have them, because we want to give you that opportunity to get what you need.
And the new study linking
this is on
vitamin D
vitamin
and
D.
cancer in a way we've never heard before. Doctors know that low levels of the vitamin can lead to a host of illnesses, but now research suggests that vitamin D might actually hold the key to fighting cancer. John McKenzie has a story.
The studies just keep coming. The evidence mounting. Low levels of vitamin D are now linked to so many illnesses, from breast, colon, and prostate cancers, type 1 diabetes and asthma, to multiple sclerosis and heart disease.
I even think of vitamin D as the fountain of youth, if you will, in that it allows us to age well.
At least that's the hope. And nowhere is the evidence more compelling than here in the laboratory.
So all the work here is on vitamin D?
Yes, we've got
Professor Joellen Welsh has spent the last 25 years studying the powerful effect of vitamin D on cells.
These are human breast cancer cells growing in a flask.
Taken from a woman who had breast cancer?
Yes.
Now watch what happens when you add a potent form of vitamin D. Within just 4 days, half those cancer cells are dead.
It looks like the cancer cells are basically shriveled up and dying.
The longer they're treated with vitamin D, the more of an effect we see. What happens is that vitamin D enters the cells and it triggers this cell death process. It's similar to what we see when we treat cells with tamoxifen.
A drug used to treat breast cancer?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's a very dramatic effect.
That was just the beginning. Researchers here then took human breast cancer cells and injected them into mice. Tumors quickly began to grow, but when the mice were treated with vitamin D, the tumors began to shrink. Look, this one was reduced to half its size. The one here disappeared entirely. Similar results have been seen on colon and prostate tumors in mice.
Okay, so obviously we hear a lot more about vitamin D, and it literally is one of those vitamins that I tell everyone to be on. If you're a baby, if you just had a baby, I'm like, make sure your baby's getting vitamin D. We have drops for kids, and everybody needs to be on vitamin D. You have to have a certain serum level in your body. Who knows what their vitamin D level is? Anybody tested? 1, 2. How much? Do you know what your number is?
I don't know.
So they just told you it was low?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you test yours? Do you know what your number is?
I got it on my phone, but yeah, it was low.
Okay. So I always tell my patients I need to know your actual number, because if your doctor says it's low, then it's extremely low in our books. Because for the levels, you have 0 to 100, obviously, and then you have 30. If you're at 30 or above, they say you prevent rickets. Which, how many of you know that anybody that has rickets? It's very rare. But so 30 is their recommendation.
What is that?
When your bones bend because you don't have enough vitamin D in it. So a lot of people, yes?
Also getting outside, exercising, and getting some sun exposure.
Yes.
For vitamin D production.
Yes, absolutely. So when we look at vitamin D, they say 30 or more, so you could be right at 30, and they're like, you're good. But what we recommend, based off of the studies, is 70 to 100. Because at 70 to 100, now you're killing cancer, reducing your risk of breast cancer, prostate cancer, you're reducing your risk of depression, you're also reducing your risk of heart disease. So if your vitamin D level is high, your risk of all those diseases goes down. But what they're trying to prevent rickets. I'm trying to make sure that you don't get cancer. So when we look at your numbers, when you get tested, that's what you want to know. What's your number? Because again, if they tell you it's low, I'm going to be very concerned. So a lot of people will tell me, Doc, I already take vitamins. How many of you already take vitamin D? Okay. So if it's not one of ours, this is what I'm going to go over. Just because they just did a study that came out, and if you've got your vitamins at GNC, Kroger, Walmart, what's the other one? CVS and Walgreens. Those are the ones that they went and they tested, and these vitamins didn't even have, some of them didn't even have vitamin D in them. There's a label, oh, here's your vitamin D, but there's nothing in them. And don't ask me how it's legal. Just don't ask me, but look at some of the ingredients. When I look, I was just thinking of our conversation.
I got vitamin D and it had all that ingredients.
So I ran out of my vitamin D and I'm like, oh, I need vegetables. I asked them, like, let me see it. And she gives it to me and I look at the ingredients. Number one ingredient, soybean oil. So then when you look at ingredients, the number one ingredient on there is what is what it's mostly made out of. So you're looking at soybean oil, gelatin, glycerin, water, corn oil, caramel, artificial color, which is also, does anybody know what caramel coloring does? Well, sugar, but it's also known to be a cancer-causing agent. So then we're looking at cod liver oil and then vitamin D3, the last thing on there, meaning there's minimal to little vitamin D in there. And why is it that way? How much does this cost? $5.88. Again, you guys can go get cheaper vitamins, I'm not going to lie to you, but they're not going to give you the effect. In fact, they could be toxic to you. Yes?
They gave me a prescription for vitamin D. That's okay, right?
So, let me explain on that one. There's vitamin D3 and then there's vitamin D2. Because they can't sell you vitamin D3, they come up with a synthetic version of D1. D1. And they can prescribe that to you, which will give you some effect, but you can actually overdose on the prescription kind, but you can't overdose on the natural kind. But again, they cannot prescribe, they can't make money off of vitamins. It's a business. So, what is the one for acne? Accutane, right? That's actually a synthetic vitamin A, high-dose synthetic vitamin A. You can also get the same effect if you just did vitamin A naturally. But they tell you don't do vitamin A naturally because it could kill you. Come use our prescription one because that one will not kill you. Just cause all these other side effects. So that's why when you look at vitamins, you have to look at ingredients. And again, what are we going to recommend is something that has whole food. It's a whole foods base. And it has probiotics so that you can absorb it, because when they go into your intestine, that's when you're going to be absorbing it. You're going to need FOS, which is the food that feeds the probiotics. And then you also, how many do you want? You want 5 to 10 billion probiotics. We have different strains in there to make sure that your body actually, again, is absorbing the vitamin D3. They did a study where this truck driver put his probiotics and his vitamin D together on accident and found out that he actually his vitamin D levels actually went up a lot faster that way. Because you could be taking vitamin D every single day and your numbers don't even change. So you have to know what's your number, and then also what kind of probiotic or what kind of vitamins are you taking, and then checking to see if that's even high enough. Because you, like he said, you can go outside, but unless you're outside in your swimsuit, so most of your skin exposed between the hours of 12 and 2 p.m. when the sun is full blast. Like, how many of you are out there? No one. So it's not happening. So you're not going to get enough sun, and that's why we do supplement with vitamin D3. And again, this helps a lot with allergies because it boosts your immune system. It helps with cancer. It boosts your immune system. So how do toxins affect your body? So number one, when you're healthy, you have your body can detox the pathways and get everything out. But then when you start to overuse it, then now your liver doesn't process right. You start making less detoxification pathways, and they're starting to get blocked. So then your body starts holding on to all those toxins, which is number 3 right there. So a lot of you will tell me, not me, right? They did a study that shows, she's laughing because it's true. So they actually tested people's blood and urine for chemical toxicity. And if you're a patient, I asked this question to you guys, so maybe you'll remember it, the number. So how many, this is the number right here, 219 chemicals were found in 90% of the people tested. Okay? And then as far as, then you're thinking, well, not my kids, right? They did another study where they pulled the blood from the umbilical cord of the baby just born. What's the percentage, or I can't say it the right way. So they found that the blood in the baby's umbilical cord was actually 70% more toxic than the mom at birth. So if you don't think you have a toxicity problem because you don't have symptoms, you have to understand that's not the way you don't want to base your health off of or your kids' health off of. So when we look at 3,000 different additives every single year are approved by the FDA, again, because it makes money. So this is going to be awesome right here. So looking at this slide, if I took all these ingredients and I poured them into this cup right here, okay? I put some aspartame in there. I put some, let's see, what else is in there? Caffeine, which is a stimulant. Phosphoric acid. Who knows what phosphoric acid is? Anyone? What? Battery acid? Yep. Okay. See what else we put in here. Some caramel coloring. And then we also put in, trying to remember the name of that one. I can't even say it. It's some sweetener, right? The sweetener is like 200 times sweeter than sugar. And so you put all of that in there. If I mix that all in there, and then a preservative in there, and I gave it to you. So who wants to drink this? So many people know what it is. Coke Zero to be exact, because Diet Coke is for the women, and then Coke Zero. Oh man. You should duck down, guys. Duck down. Don't be proud of that. Don't be proud of that. So they're right. It's Coke Zero. Coke Zero. That's what we're looking at. And you have to understand that, but it's almost the same ingredients that you're looking at in regular Coke. Just add in the aspartame, which again is a neurotoxin, causes brain damage, and cancer in the brain as well. So this is why you don't want to be drinking. But how many of you allow your children to have a soda once in a while? Right? Because you think it's okay. You go through the drive-thru. What do you want to drink? I want a Sprite. Well, in the sense you are doing a little bit better because it doesn't have a caramel color, which is a cancer-causing agent. But at the same time, these sodas, the phosphoric acid is the one that actually goes into your body and it changes your pH inside to acidic, and then actually, so your body decides, well, since we don't want you to die, thank God our body's smarter than us, it actually pulls out the calcium out of your bones, the minerals out of your bones, makes your bones weaker, but it keeps you alive. So imagine drinking a few of these every single day. How many cups of water do you need to drink to neutralize one soda?
30.
She's not patient. 30. 30 cups of water to neutralize just drinking 1 can of soda with that phosphoric acid. So we have to understand that once in a while you're going to have your splurge, but if you're doing this weekly, if you're doing this daily, then you're poisoning your body. We're going to talk about this again. You can Google organic. You want to go with that. All those should be organic. Those on the other side, those are the clean 14. Those are the ones that have the least amount of pesticides, and those are the ones that you can buy non-organic and not be worried about it. Okay.
Do you have something like that in
Karen said that there's an app that actually you can find, and then it'll show you which ones are clean and which ones are dirty.
It's called Dirty Dozen.
It's called Dirty Dozen. You can find it on your phone. It started off as Dirty Dozen, and now it's grown. I think there's a list that says Dirty Dozen Plus. So. Okay, so we talked about pesticides as well. So you're looking at, they're using this to spray, but what are the effects of it? You're looking at exposure has been linked to nervous system disorders, immune system suppression, so our immune system's now lower. What leads, so if your immune system's low, what happens? You get cancer, you get breast cancer, you have diabetes, reproductive damage, hormone problems, asthma, ADHD, autism, migraine headaches, developmental delays. And this is just from the pesticides that we're dealing with. And then you look about, the next thing we need to understand is that your meat has to be organic and grass-fed. So if you're going to change anything, is it going to be the vegetables first organic and then the meat? No, you're going to change your meat first, and we're going to talk about why. Because a regular conventional cow is going to be fed a corn diet, antibiotics, and hormones. So they're giving them corn diet for what? To fatten them up. So they get so big that now they're getting sick. So what do they give them? Antibiotics. The antibiotics are making them so sick that now they need extra hormones to make sure that they keep getting bigger so they can sell more meat and sell more milk. So that's why you want to look at why should we be eating grass-fed beef?
People often ask, what should I eat? One of the important things to eat is meat from grass-fed animals. Grass-fed animals are an entirely different type of food than the industrial processed meat that you're probably used to eating. A modern animal is fed antibiotics, genetically engineered corn and soy, and precious little else. And what comes out is something that looks like meat, but when you look at it from a biochemical perspective, it has the same types of fats that cause inflammation and are linked with type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. That kind of meat is bad for you. But when you eat a cow that grazed its entire life on natural grass, you actually get a type of fat that looks more like salmon, wild-caught salmon. Not only do you get really good flavor, but you get a complete lack of the toxins that are common in industrially raised meat. So if someone says, oh, meat is bad for you, or red meat is bad for you, what you need to ask is, well, what kind of meat? Where did the animal come from? Was the animal itself healthy? And you'll find that by eating less meat, but eating a much higher quality of meat, that you improve the quality of your life entirely. One of the big areas of focus of the Bulletproof diet is on getting the highest quality meats because you need the fat from the meat, you need the vitamins that are in the meat. And when you eat those, you'll find that your level of satisfaction and your level of focus both increase dramatically. Meat from healthy animals, including even fat on the meat, is one of the keys to reducing the cravings and inflammation that drive most dieters to fail.
Okay, who likes their steak with some fat on it?
Yeah.
I wish it was more fat than steak. I love it. But again, okay, that's disgusting. It's so good for you, but again, coming from a grass-fed cow, now you're actually giving your body what it needs, and then you eat less of it. A lot of people say, I don't want to, we eat a lot of meat in our family. I get it. I love meat as well. I'm not vegetarian. Everybody assumes I'm a vegetarian. No. So you're looking at, no. So then you're looking at, I eat a lot of meat, but then when you switch over to organic grass-fed beef or, really good chicken, organic pasture-raised chicken, then you're looking at a nutrient-dense meal. So now that steak, even though it's smaller, it has more nutrients, and your body, it gets fuller faster, and you don't have to buy as much. So you still end up, it'll probably wash out. You won't be paying more money, but it'll be about the same. So if you have to choose to buy either organic produce or animal products, you're going to start with animal products because per pound, per square inch, you're literally getting more pesticides in the cow than you are on the vegetables. So when you look at this salmon right there, if I ask you is that good or is that healthy or not, how can you tell? It's wild caught. So that plate right there, you're saying is wild caught fish.
But it says right there you can't tell.
Yeah, exactly. You can't tell. They look pretty similar. So when you go to a restaurant, you're like, well, I don't know if it's good or not. One, you can ask. Two, you're hoping they tell you